G'day, mate. Welcome to Friday Facts 352 on a Friday with a mojo and a new website.
Yes.
That's it. That's the whole intro.
That's it.
I know Mojo's not going to have a new website up and running. I'm not going to have a new website up and running. But in theory, Woob's going to have a new website up and running because
All we have is shiny new sphinctons in the game.
Yeah, we do have those. You had to get that in there somewhere.
I was going to slip it in there somehow.
Yeah, as long as you slip in the word and not anything into the sphincton. But that's besides the point. The website is dated. Yeah, I said it. I had to say it. We've moved on. The website is dated. Very dated. Yeah, don't get me wrong. The website looks like an indie developer because, look, and I'm willing to bet you do the same.
It's functional. It is the most functional website. Like, you know how you get startup websites? It's got crazy things, with the thing panning in the background and all that kind of crazy crap and videos and all kinds of things.
And you don't know where the bottom of the page is because it doesn't actually have a scroll bar. But if you scroll with the wheel, there's always more. And yes. So I do a lot of research on games as they're coming out, what's coming next, and I look at a lot of developer web pages. And Woob's webpage works. Everything is written across the top. You can find everything quickly. It's nice and simple. I really like it. It's functional. It has no whistles and bells, but that's perfectly fine. But they are
going about par of the course for a website from about 2003.
It is. See, I'm trying to be nice to them, and Mojo's trying to bag them out.
That's not a bad thing. 2003 websites tended to be very functional. Well, there were two camps. There was the people were still stuck in, well, several actually. There was people stuck in the 90s. There was a functional ones like this who were doing very minimalist stuff. And then there were ones who were starting to experiment with Flash and that sort of thing.
Flash, Java, the more plugins we can get to attach to our webpage and do dynamic things, the better. And they piss me off. Yes.
I think I've got it wrong in saying Flash, because Flash, like all these have been around for a while. It was more that the sheer volume of multimedia that we were cramming in websites was getting ridiculous.
The sheer magnitude of CPU that gets wasted opening a web page. Like I could say things about YouTube currently, and if you log into their backend in more than 2 tabs, suddenly I lose half my CPUs, which is pretty impressive on an i9. But that's besides the point. So Woob's updating their webpage. Now, being that they are coming to 1.0, it is one of the things that we've mentioned for a little while now that they're going to have to get done. They need to do the spit and the polish on not just the game, but everything that goes around the game. So we've mentioned posters for the Steam store. We've mentioned the press kit, which they actually cover partially in this. The website, obviously, we've mentioned that before. So yeah, and Woob also has a point. They say it up here. At the same time, the website is often the first thing people encounter, which is true. And if many, we return every week because Woob has the Friday Facts blog, which means every week a lot of viewers come and look at their webpage.
It's a lot of clicks.
It is a lot of clicks, and they've shared data on the Friday Facts and how many unique viewers they get every week in the past. And it's a significant number of people. So yeah, it's sort of past due. And they do say the current set of web pages are a complete mishmash of styles and not coherent and do not fit well with the look of the game, which... Look, the wiki looks like you're pretty much your bog standard wiki page, which is okay.
Wikis you can't really customize anyway.
No, they do all have one sort of basic template which just works. The forums...
I can't remember, but I remember when I had some work around wikis, it was wikis way or go away.
Yeah, and look, that's... I think they run their own wiki, so they could change things, but...
They could, but, effort.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
The forums, I can't remember what version of software they're running on the forums.
It's PHP BB, I believe.
Yeah, I want to say it's BB code. But again, it's an off-the-shelf. There's not a lot of customizations. But again, for forums, it sort of makes sense. It's like it's the default forums with a default wiki. The mod page is completely custom code, but again, it sort of works apart from the fact that, it's.
Oh, I think the forum was a skin by Hansa Q. Way back in the day, like 4 years.
Okay. And then of course we've got the main web page, which of course they've based all the code on from scratch. The only thing I will say that you might notice, and especially in these 4 screenshots, is the main page and the mod portal both have like a set width, whereas the forums and the wiki are dynamic width. So
they're actually dynamic width.
Yeah. So that makes one hell of a difference.
The eternal struggle of dynamic width pages.
Yeah. Look, anybody who's coded a web page before loves them and hates them all at the same time. Yeah. So they set out to rework a look of our websites last year, make them all harmonize with the final game. Albert and Alice, we always get this wrong. At least I do.
Moving swiftly along.
Yeah. Worked together to design a new website and mockups in a process not too dissimilar to their GUI work. Of course, web technology is as different a beast as anything the game uses. My task was to take the mockups of each page and implement them as closely as possible, my own creative liberties notwithstanding. So we do have like the content page, which probably not a lot of people have actually looked at. But it sort of isolates like the main features of the game going from start to end. And then we have this mock-up page with, we can see they've used one of their posters in the background. They've subdivided all these things into little pictures with something from the tech tree. I do notice it has blueprints and building robots with a photo of the submachine gun there, but we'll just move along swiftly.
I think the content one's a hangover from the Kickstarter stuff.
Yeah, I think so. There is a lot of stuff in the current webpage that is still hanging around from the Indiegogo campaign, because I always have to go look it up and confirm, because Kickstarter's the big thing, but Woob and Factorio was just a little bit before that, and they went to Indiegogo.
Kickstarter's a thing, but it's not the only thing.
No, it's not the only thing, and I think Factorio is one of the few successful Indiegogo campaigns. I have a feeling that Indiegogo, I know somebody's probably going to correct me in the comments, but I have a feeling Indiegogo has had more failures than Kickstarter, but Kickstarter's had some monumental failures. That's the difference. Complete update to the webpage, complete update to the way the webpage is styled, which is well and truly overdue. The process from original page to mock up to the new version. So we got some pretty pictures again. My approach to creating web pages is conservative and in a way mirrors the philosophy we've used when developing the game. Factorio web page doesn't use any fancy modern JavaScript framework. I'm not a JavaScript hater. There's just no harm in using JavaScript to make parts of the web page interactive, and of course my many web development applications wouldn't be possible with it. But for a website like ours, avoiding the use of bloated JavaScript frameworks helps keep everything load and render quickly, and of course the web page can be browsed without JavaScript as well. To get things look right, he created a CSS framework to visually mimic the Factorio GUI styles. Wherever possible, I avoided the use of images. This keeps the page fast and ensure it stays sharp on all resolutions and levels of zoom. For instance, the buttons match their in-game counterparts closely, but are made only using shadows. So, to me, right here, it's Woob to a T. It's like we're gonna make a web page, and it has to run on a potato that only runs a 4:3 screen, right, at 800 by 600 resolution. Not a problem. That's how our webpage will work. And yeah, I have a feeling that it would probably run on just about anything, because going through that brief explanation there, like, they have used JavaScript in the Friday Fact blogs before with the slider bar, so we can see the old design compared to a new design when they're doing updates to graphics and that sort of stuff. We had that the other week with the beacons, which I won't talk about ever again. Yes.
Sphinxtons.
Yes, that too. Which we all love and enjoy, and they are great for something like a Friday Facts when we're demonstrating old to new. But for the rest of most of the webpage, is it needed? And I think the answer is no. Especially if they can do all these different button types with just a couple of colors and cascading style sheets, which is all just text-based. Your web browser reads the text and then makes pictures from text, which is brilliant.
Bold move going entirely into CSS. I've dealt with a little bit of CSS, and it's mind.
CSS, I've done some CSS too, and CSS works if you get your head around it and accept that every browser displays it slightly differently, so you might have to code it 3 different times for 3 different browsers, which is a pain. Although nowadays, Chrome is Chrome. I think Firefox runs on a Chrome-style engine.
It's still its own engine, but it's still pretty tolerant. It actually, I forget what they call it, where it automatically tries to correct coding errors and style errors.
Yeah, but also Internet Explorer, I believe, moved across to a Chrome engine as well.
Yeah, Edge is Chrome now.
Yeah, so
even though it was proven that Google was deliberately slowing down an Internet Explorer to make him look bad.
That's fine. That's fine. It's not fine, but we've moved on. Yeah. Look, everything is pretty much Chromium based now. So if you make something that displays correctly in Chromium and Safari, and doing a check in Safari and doing a check in Firefox, you probably covered every browser there is, or 95% of browsers out there. So.
Oh, that's true. Safari's web dev, which is slightly different again.
Yeah,
but,
it is.
They come from the same basic brand.
Yeah, they do. Look, CSS, like I said, if you get it working, it works great. It's a little bit
rare that you have issues, though. Normally,
it's a little bit complicated to get it up and running and get your brain around it when you first start playing with it. And last time I played with it, which would have been. We're in 2020. 15 years ago, you had to check that it was written or displayed correctly in 3 different browsers, 4 different browsers. But yeah, nowadays, I think all the browsers have sort of standardized a little bit.
They're all pretty much the same now.
Yeah. So the only exception they had to using just pure CSS, so cascading style sheets, is the little arrow facing the right, which simply isn't possible to reproduce using CSS. He tried, however, even then the performance is kept slick because the graphics for it are embedded in the style sheet. So basically means only the little bit that sticks to the right is probably a graphic. Everything to the left of that is probably just being drawn up with CSS.
You can't do, as far as I know, CSS can't do arbitrary geometry.
No, it can do. I think it's just squares.
Rectangles.
Squares and rectangles. Yeah, well, rectangles, yes. The layout for new pages will be sleek grids with sleek grids is enabled, and thanks to modern CSS technologies like Fleetbox and CSS Grid, no floats, no tables. So it should be really, really quick to load and render, but also that'll also probably cut down on the bandwidth costs for them to host the server or the web page, because I don't know, because I don't think they've ever covered it in a Friday Facts, but I'm willing to bet as they sort of host everything else themselves, that they probably host the web page themselves.
Oh, yeah. I think it's Amazon hosted.
Okay.
Like it's on Amazon Cloud.
One of those, Amazon servers. So we do get a pretty snapshot of the new main page, which I did look through, and I'm like, we've got all the basic details, like you can buy Factorio right here. It does mention you get a free Steam key once your account is upgraded. I hope they change the wording there, because that sounds like you need to pay twice to have your account upgraded to get a free Steam key. Wording maybe really bad. Yeah.
I might get proofread.
Yeah, I do also like that they have the system requirements here, because we're all reading the Friday Facts. We've all been around Factorio forever. And Windows 10, great. 8, 7, Vista, not surprised. Mac OS, half a dozen Mac OSs. I don't understand any of those. Linux, yep. 4 gigabytes of RAM, so pretty much if you can boot your operating system, you can open Factorio. DirectX 10.1 capable GPU with 512 mega VRAM.
It's not a lot.
On a GTX 260 or a Radeon 4850 or a HD Graphics 5500. So again, basically any graphics card that's in any computer for the last 3 years, probably even 5 or 6.
Oh, the 200 series is you're going back to 2010.
Yeah, I know. But Anything that lasts 5 years, you're guaranteed you can open Factorio. Even a laptop. Dual-core 3 gigahertz processor. Actually, it's funny. I think some of the new processors that come out, I'm thinking the really, really high core count ones maybe don't have 3 gigahertz now, technically. But, like, yeah, 3 gigahertz processor. Dual core is, again, a nothing. But I did notice 1920 by 1080. I'm sort of surprised that Factorio won't run smaller. I'm willing to bet it would run smaller.
It should. There's no reason why I wouldn't.
And 3 gigabytes of disk space. That's
not unreasonable.
No, it's again.
In
it's
general,
a nothing.
In general, like system specs these days are pretty like they don't really mean that much.
Well, most games, when you see system specs, you're like, this is the minimum system specs, and we see this a lot of AAA titles. You see a minimum specs and then a recommended specs, and normally you read the recommended specs as like the minimum specs to play the game. I'm willing to bet in this case, this is the absolute minimum specs to boot the game, and even then, that's not a guarantee. You could probably have lower specs and boot the game. It just probably wouldn't be a very fun experience.
It'd be like my laptop, which more or less runs it. I mean, it's HD 3000, I think.
Actually,
HD 3000, 4000.
I think I have a laptop that is 12 years old that has these specs. Maybe it's a little bit short in the CPU, and it does open Factorio. It's not a pleasant experience, but it does open Factorio. Yeah, because it is 12 years old now, I want to say. Maybe it's 13.
Should load it up on my 12-year-old Dell.
Yeah. So yeah, look, I like the front page. It really does cover everything. I also like down the fact that they've got all the all the important things: terms of service, privacy, imprint, press kit, the contact, the RSS, and the jobs, along with the rocket. That we need to click on that rocket when this web page finally rolls out next week.
Oh yeah, we need to have a look at that.
Yeah, because that's asking to be clicked on. At the same time, the mod portal also received a new design. It now looks very similar to the main page, which is great. I do like that it's still standardized to looking at version 17 mods. Maybe that should be changed to version 18 by now, just possibly, maybe.
18 is technically still
technically not stable. I know.
Yeah, it's not stable.
I know.
It's just like what one of the comments on the forum said, where someone was complaining the version they were running was like 18.9 or something had been removed. They're complaining about it.
Oh, from the Steam betas, yeah.
Yeah.
I think they only keep the last 20 versions available.
Yeah, they have a limited number of slots available.
Yeah. Yeah, my answer is just go download the standalone version of like 18.9 if that's the version you want to play on. So yeah, also took the effort to unify login sessions between the main website and the mod portal, so you now no longer have to log in twice. I do want to ask, does that also join into the forums? Because I know the forums are technically a second login.
Because it's its own thing.
Because I've had to log in on the main page to then download Factorio, to then go do a look at a mod, to then log in again, to then go to the forums to complain about said mod because it's broken, and log in again. Yep. Yeah, so this is the Friday Facts, the last time you see in the current old style, so enjoy it whilst the last new website will go live sometime next week. Once the new design is out, don't forget to click on the rocket. I'm hoping it opens the Friday Facts, or maybe the rocket takes off. I don't know. But definitely going to be clicking the rocket. You'll probably see it pop up on Reddit as soon as the update happens within 5 minutes. I guarantee it. And then we have the website content update. So again, this one actually falls to Clonin, their community manager. My part of the whole website update was going through all the pages and updating the content with the side goal of reducing overall number of pages we have, either by merging pages together or just deleting pages with they no longer value. Since 1.0 is so close, I just decided to pretend that 1.0 is already out and update the content to match it. It means there's no mention of early access, ongoing development, roadmaps, alpha releases, etc. This allowed me to clean up quite a lot of the pages and make them much neater and more clear, but this also might cause some confusion till 1.0 is actually released. But that's just 2 months away from now, so it's not a big concern for me. He says that until it probably explodes 2 weeks beforehand and gets a whole bunch of emails about asking about 1.0. Technically, they can't buy 1.0 from Steam. And on a side note, Mojo.
Yes?
If you're selling an early access game on Steam, don't you have to advertise it elsewhere as early access? Technically?
I don't know what the requirement is.
I have a feeling you do. You have to use the Steam early access logo.
Huh.
I remember reading about somewhere, because I again, doing a lot of research into games before I grabbed them to feature them, play them, whatever, and found a game that was, I have a feeling it was marked as early access on Steam, and then when you went to their webpage, even though they were like 3 months in development and obviously still in like the early alpha stage, the webpage really made it sound like, no, this is the clear final product.
Well, Steam says it's early access, and the current website says it's early access.
Yeah.
So at least that's right.
Yeah, but if you're selling it elsewhere or marketing it elsewhere on your own private webpage, I think the early access terms and conditions mean that you have to use the Steam early access logo and declare it as early access. Oh, what? It's something for Clonin definitely to worry about. But yeah, the artwork page. Whilst going through the press kit, I found myself wanting to include some of the cool images we've made over the years that aren't really screenshots. Things like the 2020 rocket poster, or the player and the butter giving a toast in the new year. So that's the 2020 poster that we've got up in the top right-hand corner, which was end of 2019. Who's the art guy? Come on, Mojo. Albert.
Yes.
Albert.
And V.
I want to say it was Albert that does the end of year artwork, or maybe it's V.
I think it was Albert.
It's whoever's been there longest, I want to say. And if V gets grumpy at me and yells at me later in my DMs, I accept that. Because I probably got that wrong. But yes, I want to say...
If I got it wrong, he can still yell at you.
Cool.
It's your fault.
Cool. As long as we've agreed on that. But yeah, they did the 2021 end of last year and the end of the year before. I don't know. Do we have a picture here that I can see? No. They do have the biter and the player, drinking science packs, I guess, over the top of a desolate wasteland after the engineer has gone through and built a rocket, pretty much. It's a really, really, really good image, but yes, it's not technically part of Factorio anywhere, but yes, I'm really, really glad that they're including some of these really cool images that I have done. Not a big fan of the Woob logo, but we've covered that previously. The 2021 definitely. The balancer splitter thing, The shirts, The biter attacking the wall, definitely. The achievements one, which aren't probably going to get an update before Steam comes out.
Oh yeah, they were set to receive some updates, weren't they?
Hopefully they're going to get to the graphics, but at the same time, hopefully they're going to add new achievements. Because I do believe when a game goes to 1.0, they can add new achievements at that stage. I think adding them after that point is a little bit difficult without major releases. So I'd like to see some new achievements. You know, we've got the one for 20 million green circuits. Let's do 20 million blue circuits, 200 million blue circuits, like something ridiculous like that. Getting a couple of rockets launched off within a minute would also be a really interesting achievement to throw onto the list.
Some of those are pretty crazy.
They are, but like Factorio is one of those games. Like the 20 million green circuit one is over the lifetime of the game. So 20 million blue circuits over the lifetime of the game, it's an achievement, and it's one of those ones you can actually definitely mark down and say that is an achievement to get that one, because that's a lot of blue circuits. Same with getting a couple of rockets off within a minute.
Isn't there a mod that adds extreme achievements?
There is several, but not a lot of them haven't been updated.
Okay.
And I have installed them over the years, and there was one that had 20 million. Oh, actually, I think it had 200 million blue circuits.
Yeah, something like that. That sounded familiar.
in one game session, which was a whole different story. So yeah, back to the press kit. Clodon was originally thinking about throwing the press kit willy-nilly, and that'll get them out there. We have some really nice images that are cool for things like YouTube thumbnails. I know I've used a lot of them. Website articles and reviews, and I really wanted them to be accessible at least somewhere. However, having them only in a press kit means they aren't really discoverable to the average player on it or a new website visitor, which is entirely correct. Really, the only people that download press kits are people that do press stuff. I've never found myself even looking for a press kit before doing YouTube. Now it's generally on my top 5 things I look at for new games.
Yeah, generally want to try and they're really useful things, and some companies don't like handing them out. Don't like handing out.
Some companies don't even list them anywhere. The only way you get them is by sending them an email and having them reply back to get a Google Drive link that is stuff they haven't updated in 4 years, which has happened more than once. Some of them do some really, really high effort stuff that looks really good. I want to say Deep Rock Galactic is a recent one that I saw, did a really, really good press kit. So good that they actually took one of the images and you can buy it on a t-shirt now, as some merch for the game, which is, again, like, impressive. So yeah, like, press kits can be really interesting. You can get some really interesting graphics and also backgrounds for your desktop and that sort of stuff. But yeah, without going hunting for them, most people don't realize they're there. So they decided to add a brand new page, the artwork page. Initially just added nice flashy posters, the 2020 rocket, the GDS cover, which is one of those things I'd actually like to get, because that was, they did say how many pixels it was. It's like, I think it's like 3 or 4 4K screens. It's like 2 4K screens wide or something, and like 10 long.
Oh yeah, that thing's huge.
But I think
that'd be even more than that for a poster.
It was massive. It was absolutely massive. But it's one of those things you can grab, you can cut up, you can do all sorts of things with it. But I think there are lots of interesting images that we can include from the years of publishing the Friday Facts. I went through all the 350 blog posts to try and find the best images to put on the page. I want to avoid images that show old graphics or potentially confusing, outdated information. And this is a quick selection. I have no idea what the hand-drawn one on the right is with the black, the red, and the green.
Yeah, I don't recognize that one.
I don't recognize that at all.
I think it might be Roboports, though.
I don't know. It looks like an image on an image on an image. I think
it might be just some initial art sketches.
Yeah, really, really early doodling. But they do have Factorio multiplayer released as a newspaper article, which was version. Help me, Mojo.
Yes. Version, yes.
12. 12 was when multiplayer came out, wasn't it?
11.
11. Yes, okay. So like it's really, really, really early on. I do know the tank one down the bottom left is like the first 50 Friday Facts, I want to say. It's really, really early on. Same with the car. I haven't even seen the car one ever. So obviously I need to go through about 150 Friday Facts to go and find some of these missing images, because I don't even have a copy of them. The one I did notice that they are missing is they do have a high resolution of the old player character before version 16 when it was redone.
Whenever it was redone, yeah.
But it was like, it's 4 times normal size. So it actually looks really, really good. I've got local copies that I grabbed off of the really, really early Friday Facts, which again, I've used in thumbnails. So it's just one of those interesting images that I wouldn't mind being on the artwork page or the press kit or both. Also the Factorio on the right-hand side, underneath the train. I don't remember that one. Or maybe that's the GDS poster, which they had a reasonably high resolution, but not quite as high as what they actually put up on the poster.
The one with the big base?
Yes. Actually, it's one of V's bases.
Yeah, that's one of V's bases.
Yeah, I remember it was one of V's bases, and I want to say that's from the GDS poster. Maybe.
I think it is. I can't 100% remember that.
I can't remember either. And look, they are featuring... I want to say it's V's base in the background for the new background image on all the Factorio pages. I'm assuming it's fairly full on, with not a lot of free tiles. Yeah, V makes interesting bases. Yeah.
He does.
But yeah, Clonin goes on to say, I feel this artworks page is a great showcase of all the work we've done over the years. I'm really happy with how it turned out. Gathering the best images and compiling them into a single page, it started to feel like we are reaching the finish line and we have some closure on the alpha development. It's been a long journey and we have a lot to look forward to with Factorio development. Part of me feels a bit sad knowing this chapter of the game is drawing to a close. It is. It's finally getting to the end of alpha, beta, early access, whatever you want to call it. And then we're moving into whatever comes after final release, which we've all been speculating. Everybody's been speculating for a while now. What's coming next? DLC version 1.1. The Woob's next big project, which I'm assuming
polishing off all the content that they couldn't polish for 1.0.
Get the things that they couldn't fit in, like the blueprint library and the other things that they've admitted they've dropped. They've admitted they've dropped and they moved the release date forward because Cyberpunk was coming out the week before, I think. And then I've just heard today on Discord, I haven't double checked to see whether it's true, but I assume it is, that Cyberpunk 2077's been moved back another 2 months.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
So, they could have kept the original release date, which would have worked for me, and hopefully they would have got the other things done, and it wouldn't have been an issue.
I saw it on Twitter. Someone tagged Factorio. It's like, are you going to delay Factorio? And then it's just this one-word reply: no.
Look, it's they do have some things they need to polish off, and the things that they need to finish off to call Factorio, I think, done as according to Woob and Clonin like 2 years ago. The things that they want to tick off their list to say Factorio is done, it's dusted, we've finished the game to the point that we wanted to. Whether they expand past that with DLCs and all that sort of stuff, who knows? Whether they put out a 1.1 update with the blueprint libraries and the other things they promised, plus who knows, added into it, Spidertron.
Again, we ain't get Spidertron.
I've given up asking. Every single time I put out one of these videos, there is always somebody either in Discord or in the comments going, things that aren't in the game yet, Spidertron. I'm just like, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. If they add it as a DLC, even as a 99-cent DLC, it will probably be the most bought DLC ever. Which would actually...
long abandoned.
Well, actually probably be an interesting meme, actually. Putting in a 99-cent DLC for Spidertron and just having it, like, just take off in Steam charts.
It gives you a Spidertron, which is just a white box which says Spider-Tron.
Oh, that'd be cruel.
Rocket Defense all over again.
Yeah. But yeah, look, they have to get 1.0 done. They have to get the website done. They have to still update the Steam webpage. What are the other things we're going to do? Or they've got to do. I am looking for the new press kit. I'm interested in what's going to be in the new press kit. We have seen some of the things they've featured on the art page, which is all from previous Friday Facts, which I recognize most of them. There are some that I will definitely be pinching off that page when it comes out. But again, press kit, I want to see what's going to be in the press kit for new and interesting whatever they decide to add. They have a few things they need to do before they can call it done. And yeah, I guess time will tell. And what is it, like 4 weeks away? We're 2 months away? Hang on.
Yeah, about 8 weeks away.
1 month, 28 days. So yeah, 8 weeks. Oh boy, it's 8 weeks away. There you go.
It's creeping up.
It is. Everybody, this is the time when you call the boss and say, I need time off that week. Just put in for time off now. Just get it over and done with. Anyway, with that said, I think that's it for Friday Facts 352, right?
That's it.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. As always, do hope you've enjoyed. And I'll see you guys in the next week's Friday Facts. All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.